Minimum security prison.
Minimum security prison.
Minimum wage.
Minimum wage.
Most of the junior office staff are on the minimum wage.
Minion.
Minion.
I was shown into the office by one of her minions.
Mining. Mining.
The coal mining industry.
Mini roundabout.
Mini roundabout.
Miniseries.
Miniseries.
Minisite.
Mini-site.
Miniskirt.
Miniskirt.
Minister. Minister.
The Minister of Agriculture.
The Minister for Foreign Affairs. A meeting of EU foreign ministers.
A senior cabinet minister. A Baptist minister.
Reverend Wilson spent 20 years ministering in some of New York's poorest areas.
She spent much time ministering to the sick.
Ministering to the needs of other people.
Ministerial.
Ministerial.
A ministerial meeting.
The project was approved at ministerial level.
Minister of State.
Minister of State.
Ministrations.
Ministrations.
Despite the ministrations of the surgeon, poor Lucy died on the 22nd July.
Ministry.
Ministry.
The Ministry of Agriculture.
A defense ministry spokesman. Converted in his early teens, he entered the ministry in 1855.
The Ministry of Jesus.
Minivan.
Minivan.
Mink.
Mink.
A mink coat.
Minnow.
Minnow.
One of the minnows of the computer industry.
Miner. Miner.
We have made some minor changes to the program.
A relatively minor error. A minor road. They played only a minor role in local government.
He escaped with only minor injuries.
Mahler's Symphony No. 3 in D minor.
A minor key.
This film contains material unsuitable for minors.
I'm taking history as my minor.
Sid majored in sociology and minored in political science.
Minority.
Minority.
Gaelic is still spoken in Ireland by a minority. Only a minority of people supported these new laws.
Gay men are a small but significant minority.
People from ethnic minorities often face prejudice.
The very large Russian minorities in Ukraine and Moldova. Children from minority groups. The teaching of minority languages in schools. A school with a high proportion of minority students.
Businesses are under pressure to hire minorities and women.
Minority government.
Minority government.
Minority leader.
Minority leader.
Minor league.
Minor league.
A minor league team.
Collins was just a minor league crook.
Minor leagues.
Minor leagues.
Minster.
Minster.
A carol service at the Minster. York Minster.
Minstrel.
Minstrel.
Mint.
Mint.
New potatoes sprinkled with chopped mint.
Roast lamb with mint sauce.
Decorate with a sprig of mint.
We sat in the back row sucking mints.
Would you like a mint?
She made a mint on the stock exchange last year.
Coins issued by the Royal Mint.
Only 2,000 of the special commemorative coins are being minted.
A copy in mint condition would fetch about £2,000. A copy in mint condition would fetch about £2,000.
Minted.
Minted.
Some newly minted theatrical stories.
Serve with minted peas. Serve with minted peas.
Mint julep.
Mint julep.
Minty.
Mini.
A fresh minty flavour.
Minuet.
Minuet.
Minus.
Minus.
17 minus 5 is 12. 17 minus 5 equals 12.
The payment will be refunded to you minus a small service charge. The payment will be refunded to you minus a small service charge.
He came back minus a couple of front teeth.
There are both pluses and minuses to living in a big city. There are both pluses and minuses to living in a big city.
Any minus points? Well, the engine is rather noisy. On the minus side, there is no free backup service if things go wrong. At night, temperatures sometimes fall to minus 30 degrees.
A minus quantity.
Minuscule.
Minuscule.
A minuscule amount of food.
Her office is minuscule.
Minus sign.
Minus sign.
Minute.
Minute.
It takes me 10 minutes to walk to work.
The train arrived at 4 minutes past 8. He returned a few minutes later.
I'll meet you at the car in 5 minutes. A 10-minute bus ride.
He cancelled his trip to England at the last minute.
If you leave your essay until the last minute, you'll almost certainly panic.
She was getting angrier by the minute.
His voice was getting stronger every minute. I went camping for a week and enjoyed every minute of it.
The ambulance was there within minutes.
He had his car stolen within minutes of arriving at the office. He had his car stolen within minutes of arriving at the office.
Sam thought for a minute, then smiled at his brother. Sam thought for a minute, then smiled at his brother.
Can I have a word? It will only take a minute.
Wait here, I'll be back in a minute.
Mr. Gregson will be with you in a minute. Mr. Gregson will be with you in a minute. Just a minute, Margaret. I want to introduce you to Betty.
Wait a minute. Let me see if I understand this correctly.
Hold on a minute. That can't be right.
We're expecting them any minute now. Have you got a minute? I need to ask you some questions.
Tell him I need to see him the minute he arrives. Tell him I need to see him the minute he arrives. Tell him I need to see him the minute he arrives.
I don't think for 1 minute that he'll do it, but I have to ask.
Johnny, get inside this minute.
You don't have to tell me right this minute.
I put down the phone and the next minute it rang again.
1 minute they're madly in love, and the next they've split up again. 1 minute they're madly in love, and the next they've split up again.
Will you take the minutes?
Has everyone seen the minutes of last month's meeting?
You only need a minute amount. You only need a minute amount.
Her handwriting is minute.
A minute examination of the rock.
He explained the plan in minute detail.
Minute hand.
Minute hand.
Minute man.
Minute man.
Minutiae.
Minutia.
I'm not interested in the minutiae of the research, just its conclusions.
Minx.
Minx.
Mips. Mips.
Miracle.
Miracle.
It's a miracle you weren't killed.
By some miracle we managed to catch the plane.
The economic miracle of the 1950s.
She's our miracle baby.
Fence's survival in these winds seems like a minor miracle. Fence's survival in these winds seems like a minor miracle.
Do you believe in miracles?
There is no miracle cure for diabetes.
Maybe you should try yoga. It worked miracles for me.
The concert tour was an absolute miracle of organization.
A miracle of modern engineering.
Miraculous.
Miraculous.
She made a miraculous recovery from her injuries.
They had a miraculous escape when their car plunged into a river. Miraculous powers of healing.
Miraculously, no one was killed.
Mirage.
Mirage.
Perhaps we are just chasing a mirage.
Mire.
Mire.
The wheels got stuck in the mire.
The party sank deeper into the mire of conflict.
Mired.
Mired.
A government mired in scandal and controversy.
Mirror.
Mirror.
She was studying her reflection in the mirror.
He spends hours in front of the mirror.
When I looked in the mirror, I couldn't believe it. I looked fantastic. Check your rearview mirror before you drive away.
A wing mirror.
We believe the polls are an accurate mirror of public opinion. We believe the polls are an accurate mirror of public opinion.
Henry's sad smile mirrored that of his son. Henry's sad smile mirrored that of his son.
The economic recovery in Britain was mirrored in the U.S. The economic recovery in Britain was mirrored in the U.S.
Mirror image.
Mirror image.
This situation is a mirror image of the one Republicans faced 25 years ago.
Mirror sight.
Mirror sight.
Mirth.
Mirth.
Her body began to shake with mirth.
Mirthless.
Mirthless.
Now it's your turn, he said with a mirthless grin.
He smiled mirthlessly.
Miss.
Miss.
Misfortune.
He's been misbehaving.
A miscalculation.
I misunderstood you.
What caused this anger and mistrust?
Misadventure.
Misadventure.
A verdict of death by misadventure was recorded.
Misalliance.
Misanthropist.
Misanthropist.
Misapply.
Misapply.
In your case, the rules have been misapplied.
A misapplication of the law.
Misapprehension.
Misapprehension.
You seem to be under a misapprehension. I think we should clear up this misapprehension.
Misappropriate.
Misappropriate.
He claimed the finance manager had misappropriated company funds.
The misappropriation of public funds.
Misbegotten.
Misbegotten.
You misbegotten fool.
Misbehave.
Misbehave.
George has been misbehaving at school.
Students have a tendency to misbehave themselves at exam time.
Misbehavior.
Misbehavior.
Even the most minor forms of misbehavior were punished.
Miscalculate.
Miscalculate.
We miscalculated how long it would take to get there.
Tim had miscalculated. Laura would never disobey her father.
Miscalculation.
Miscalculation.
Miscarriage.
Miscarriage.
She had 2 miscarriages before she had her first child. 1 in 5 pregnancies ends in miscarriage.
Miscarriage of justice.
Miscarriage of justice.
The victim of a serious miscarriage of justice.
Miscarry.
Miscarry.
She miscarried when she was 10 weeks pregnant.
Many babies with serious disabilities are miscarried.
Miscast.
Miscast.
She was hopelessly miscast in her last film.
Miscegenation.
Miscegenation.
Miscellaneous.
A miscellaneous assortment of books.
They receive a grant of £1,094 to cover the cost of miscellaneous expenses.
Miscellany.
Miscellany.
He earned his living from a miscellany of jobs.
Mischance.
Mischance.
If by some mischance the government get elected again, I think taxes will rise.
Mischief.
Mischief.
Now run along and don't get into mischief.
They've got enough toys to keep them out of mischief for a while.
If you can't see Nick, you can be sure he's up to some mischief. Kiki's eyes were bright with mischief.
I didn't want to make mischief between them.
If you try to lift that box, you'll do yourself a mischief.
The jury cleared him of the charge of criminal mischief.
Mischief maker.
Mischief maker.
Mischievous.
Mischievous.
Their sons are noisy and mischievous.
Gabby looked at him with a mischievous grin.
There was a mischievous gleam in her eyes.
A mischievous remark.
He grinned mischievously.
Misconceived.
Misconceived.
His arguments are totally misconceived.
His criticisms are misconceived and misplaced.
Misconception.
Misconception.
There is a popular misconception that too much exercise is bad for you.
Refugees have the misconception that life is great over here.
Many people's misconceptions about the blind and deaf.
Misconduct.
Misconduct.
A doctor who has been accused of professional misconduct. He was fired for serious misconduct.
She was found guilty of gross misconduct.
Misconstruction.
Misconstruction.
Your ideas are open to misconstruction.
Misconstrue.
Misconstrue.
His behavior could easily be misconstrued.
Miscount.
Miscount.
Sorry, I miscounted. We need 10 copies, not 9.
The votes were deliberately miscounted.
Miscreant.
Miscreant.
Misdeed.
Misdeed.
He now repents of his past misdeeds.
Misdemeanor.
Misdemeanor.
Alfred beat his children for even the smallest misdemeanor. Misdiagnose.
Misdiagnose.
Her condition was misdiagnosed as arthritis.
Misdirect.
Misdirect.
Without well-defined goals, it is likely that efforts will be misdirected.
Their criticism is misdirected.
Our mail was misdirected to the wrong street.
Miser.
Miser.
Miserablest.
Miserablest.
Miserable.
Miserable.
I've been so miserable since Pat left me.
I spent the weekend feeling miserable.
Jan looks really miserable.
Why do you make yourself miserable by taking on too much work?
He's a miserable old devil.
They endured hours of back-breaking work in miserable conditions.
Mosquito bites can make life miserable.
It was a miserable grey day.
2 weeks of miserable weather.
I can hardly afford the rent on my miserable income.
The team gave a miserable performance.
Her attempts to learn to drive had been a miserable failure.
I failed miserably in my duty to protect her.
Miserly.
Miserly.
We were offered a miserly 4% pay rise.
Miser.
Miser.
Misery. Miserly.
Miserly.
We were offered a miserly 4% pay rise.
Misery.
Misery.
What we are witnessing here is human misery on a vast scale. The misery of unemployment. The miseries of war.
She looked away so that Tom wouldn't see her misery.
His face was a picture of sheer misery.
The news plunged him into abject misery.
Competitive mothers can make their daughters' lives a misery.
Go on, put them out of their misery and announce the winner.
I think you should put the poor creature out of its misery.
Don't be such a misery.
What's the matter with you, misery guts?
Misery memoir. Misery memoir.
Misfield.
Misfield.
Misfire. Misfire.
His attempt at a joke misfired.
I was worried that the plan might misfire.
Misfit.
Misfit.
I was very conscious of being a misfit at school.
A social misfit.
Misfortune.
Misfortune.
It seems the banks always profit from farmers' misfortunes. It seems the banks always profit from farmers' misfortunes.
The French soldiers had the misfortune to be caught in the crossfire. The French soldiers had the misfortune to be caught in the crossfire.
Misgiving.
Misgiving.
Despite her misgivings about leaving the baby, she decided to accompany her husband.
Some politicians have expressed grave misgivings about the scheme.
Opponents of nuclear energy have deep misgivings about its safety. Opponents of nuclear energy have deep misgivings about its safety.
She eyed the distant shoreline with misgiving. She eyed the distant shoreline with misgiving.
Misguided.
Misguided.
He described the government's economic policy as misguided.
A misguided attempt to bring her parents back together.
His parents still clung to the misguided belief that his common sense would keep him out of serious trouble. His parents still clung to the misguided belief that his common sense would keep him out of serious trouble. The company misguidedly thought that expansion was the best way to survive. The company misguidedly thought that expansion was the best way to survive.
Mishandle.
Mishandle.
The Prime Minister admitted that the crisis had been mishandled. Some of the goods had been mishandled and damaged.
Mishap.
Mishap.
I had a slight mishap with one of the glasses. A series of mishaps.
Only one horse finished the course without mishap. Only one horse finished the course without mishap.
Mishear.
Mishear.
It seemed a strange question. I wondered if I'd misheard.
You must have misheard him.
Mishit.
He completely mishit his shot.
Mishmash.
Mishmash.
The magazine is a jumbled mishmash of jokes, stories, and serious news.
Misinform.
Misinform.
I'm afraid you have been misinformed.
Misinformation.
Misinformation.
Misinterpret.
Misinterpret.
Some parts of the report could be misinterpreted.
She had misinterpreted his silence as anger.
A misinterpretation of the test results.
Misjudge.
Misjudge.
The government misjudged the mood of the electorate.
I think you've misjudged her.
I misjudged the speed of the car coming towards me.
He accused the government of a serious foreign policy misjudgment.
Mislay.
Mislay.
I've mislaid my glasses again.
Sometimes students' work does get lost or mislaid.
Mislead.
Mislead.
Politicians have misled the public over the dangers of these chemicals.
Don't be misled by appearances. He's a good worker. Don't be misled into thinking that scientific research is easy.
Misleading.
Misleading.
The article was misleading, and the newspaper has apologized.
These figures are highly misleading.
Mismanage.
Mismanage.
The nation's finances had been badly mismanaged.
The government's mismanagement of the crises.
Mismatch.
Mismatch.
The mismatch between the demand for healthcare and the supply.
A mismatched couple.
Misname.
Misname.
A dreary little place that was misnamed the Grand Hotel.
Misnomer.
Misnomer.
Silent movie is a misnomer, since the movies usually had a musical accompaniment.
Misogynist.
Misogynist.
Deeply misogynist attitudes.
Misogynist.
Misplace.
Misplace.
Oh dear, I seem to have misplaced the letter.
Misplaced.
Misplaced.
I realized that my trust in him was misplaced.
She stuck with him through a misplaced sense of loyalty.
Misprint.
Misprint.
Mispronounce.
Mispronounce.
Misquote.
Misquote.
Dr. Hall said he had been misquoted in the press.
Misread.
Misread.
I think she misread the situation.
He may be misreading her intentions. The doctor must have misread the notes.
A misreading of the situation.
Misreport.
Misreport.
The facts of the story have been misreported.
Misrepresent.
Misrepresent.
These statistics grossly misrepresent the reality.
A misrepresentation of the truth.
Misrule.
Misrule.
The country has suffered years of misrule by a weak and corrupt government.
Miss.
Miss.
I'm absolutely starving. I missed lunch.
He missed 20 games after breaking a bone in his wrist. She was upset at missing all the excitement. He had missed being elected by a single vote.
Every time she missed the ball, she became more angry.
He fired, missed, and loaded again.
The bullet narrowly missed her heart. She missed her family badly.
Will you miss me? John will be sorely missed by his family and friends. John will be sorely missed by his family and friends.
I miss the car, but the bus system is good.
Ben knew he would miss working with Sabrina.
We got there late and missed the beginning of the movie.
I overslept and missed the train.
He certainly wasn't going to miss the chance of making some extra money.
Don't miss the chance to see the breathtaking Dolomite Mountains.
The opportunity was too good to miss, so he left immediately.
Maeve's sharp eyes missed nothing.
Perhaps there's something the police have missed.
It's a huge hotel on the corner. You can't miss it.
You don't miss much, do you?
John didn't miss a trick when it came to cutting costs.
A journey on one of the steam trains is certainly not to be missed. If we leave now, we should miss the traffic.
As he crossed the street, a bus just missed hitting him.
They narrowly missed being killed in the fire.
Come to the party. I will. I wouldn't miss it for the world.
I didn't miss my wallet till it came to paying the bill.
Their efforts to improve quality have somewhat missed the mark. You'll miss the boat if you don't buy shares now. She handled all of their questions without missing a beat.
Glancing up at Rick's face, she felt her heart miss a beat.
Some children miss out because their parents can't afford to pay for school trips.
Prepare food in advance to ensure you don't miss out on the fun.
Make sure you don't miss any details out.
I'd like to make an appointment with Miss Taylor.
Excuse me, miss. You've dropped your umbrella.
I know the answer, miss. I'd better give the coffee a miss. I'm due at a meeting in half an hour. Will he score a goal this time? No, it's a miss. She's a cheeky little miss.
Missile.
Missile.
Misshapen.
Misshapen.
An old woman struggling to walk on misshapen feet.
Misshapen carrots.
Missile.
Missile.
A nuclear missile.
A missile attack.
Demonstrators threw missiles at the police.
Missing.
Missing.
We found the missing piece of the jigsaw under the chair.
The keys have been missing for ages. 2 bottles were missing from the drugs cupboard.
The scissors have gone missing again.
2 of her front teeth were missing.
The last page of the diary was missing.
There's a button missing from your shirt.
2 crew members survived, but 2 are still missing.
Nearly 100,000 young people go missing in Britain each year.
When Lily did not come home, her parents called the police to report her missing.
Why is my name missing from the list?
Something was missing from her life.
Missing link.
Missing link.
Could this be the missing link in the search for a cure for cancer?
Missing person.
Missing person.
Mission.
Mission.
He was sent on over 200 missions before being killed in action.
The first manned space mission to Mars.
U.S. troops taking part in the peacekeeping mission.
Her mission was to improve staff morale.
Scientists on a mission to the rainforest to study possible medicinal uses of plants.
A group of U.S. congressmen on a fact-finding mission to Northern Ireland.
Tom's mission was to help young people in his local community.
His main mission in life is to earn as much money as possible.
The mission of International House is to enable students of different cultures to live together and build lifelong friendships.
A British trade mission to Moscow.
Missionary.
Missionary.
Missionary work. A missionary hospital.
A young English teacher who taught poetry with missionary zeal. Missionary position.
Missionary position.
Mission control.
Mission control.
Mission creep.
Mission creep.
Mission statement.
Mission statement.
Use a personal mission statement to chart your career course.
Mrs.
Mrs.
Missive.
Missive.
An anonymous missive had been pushed under her door. An anonymous missive had been pushed under her door.
Misspell.
Misspell.
Misspend.
Misspend.
Carey admitted misspending company funds.
Misstep.
Misstep.
A misstep here could cost millions of dollars.
Mrs.
Mrs.
How's the missus?
Hey, Mrs., are these your kids?
Mist.
Mist.
We could just see the outline of the house through the mist.
He vanished into the mist. The hills were shrouded in mist. The mist came down off the mountains. The mists rolled in off the sea.
The real reasons for the war are now lost in the mists of time.
The plant has to be misted every day.
His eyes misted over at the memory of his wife.
I can't see where I'm going, with the windows all misted up like this.
Mistake.
Mistake.
We may have made a mistake in our calculations.
The most common mistake is to plant them too deep.
Buying the house seemed a great idea at the time, but now I can see it was a terrible mistake.
Marrying him was the biggest mistake she ever made.
I stupidly made the mistake of giving them my phone number.
Someone must have left the door open by mistake.
I'm sorry, this letter is addressed to you. I opened it by mistake.
The boy was shot dead in mistake for a burglar.
Make no mistake, this is the most serious threat our industry has ever seen.
Miles was a heartbreaker and no mistake.
She mistook my meaning entirely. Ken mistook her concern, thinking she was interested in him for another reason. You can't mistake her. She's the one with the long red hair. There's no mistaking whose children they are. They all look just like Joe. A woman mistook him for a well-known actor and asked him for his autograph. The doctor mistook the symptoms for blood poisoning.